Come, little children, the time's come to play here in my garden of
Hello, I'm Runya, aka Media Adaptation, and welcome back to Moderation on Media's Fair Game. And it's time once again to talk about the supposedly lost 80s style anime, Go For A Punch, aka Saki Sanobashi, where we cover any new developments on the Discord and Reddit channels, and then cover older anime and manga. And it'd be an understatement to say the past week has been eventful. So much has happened in such a short amount of time, that given when I'm writing this script, and when you watch it, many things could have changed. So let's briefly catalog what has happened, and then touch upon the events as a whole, and explain things from my point of view. First, as mentioned last week, one of our members had bought a DVD of a seemingly forgotten movie called Lady in the Sea of Blood. Before the DVD's release, it was thought that only 3 VHS copies of it existed. They then contacted someone supposedly from the company, who made several claims, one of which of note being an anime adaptation of the film, seemingly matching Saki's description, and the name of which might have been Bloody Punch of a Lady, which sounds similar to Go For A Punch. They then provided several links, most of them being broken, and one of them being a deep website. And then onto one page, again with a video player that didn't work, and a vague description of Go For A Punch, followed by the date of 1986. Again, other details have been a bit all over the place, but the archive was supposedly made by a user named Dark Anime, which might have been the person who posted the clip from last time. This does look promising, and there's also something about a text-adventure game made from 2013. Again, I'm not sure the significance of that as of yet. But there is something we need to talk about. Are you familiar with the theory of Occam's razor? Which basically says the simplest competing theory would be more preferable to the ones that are more complex. And, as researchers, hypotheses can only become credibilized if the results are repeatable. Or to phrase it in another way, if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. What we have is a set of stories being cited from a single source, and therefore, at this time, they cannot be taken as fact. They can only be listed as rumors until other data points are found. This source in particular has raised a lot of red flags with these claims. The first being from 2 separate members of the Discord channel that have given me images of potential covers of their other projects, one being sequel to the live action of The Lady, and the other being one for the potential anime. And I promised them that I wouldn't reveal this image in fear of getting the source in trouble. But if I had to rate these images' believability on a scale of 1 to 100, they would get a 3. Both use the exact same image that was shown in our video last week, and is also up on our Saki site as well as on one of the Reddit pages, so it's very easy to get. And one of them was just given a filter to make it look like an animated image. It becomes clear when comparing them to the actual DVD covers of the first one, which we can't show you because of its extreme graphic nature. Now, let's move on to the other ones. Dead links are a dime a dozen, so no help there. Which then takes us to the website. We have a very generic description of Saki, which can be found within 2 seconds of a simple Google search. And the date of 1986 doesn't really help either, as that is a time which we have heavily researched on this show. We also have the lack of any link backs to the main websites that should be present on either the top or bottom of this page. And when going into the source code, it only consists of 22 lines, which again gives the site the feeling of being quickly thrown together. But onto the positives. The deep web archive supposedly made by Dark Anime really does seem like it has great potential to it. And while access to it is still blocked, the updates to the archives seem pretty consistent for the time period. And it's also generated another potential lead that needs to be looked into called Gore Brazil. Again, details on that has still yet to come in. But getting back to the point, in short, nothing given by this source can be labeled as true or confirmed at this point. I personally know the 3 main users looking into this lead, and I'm sorry if my verdict on the matter upsets you, and I'm in no way saying that this shouldn't be looked into. On the contrary, one of the main points of these videos is to encourage that every lead be fully explored, and I would like to point out that they've made very detailed reports of their finding on the second Reddit, which have been updated several times since I started writing the script. And I would greatly encourage you to go over to their posts and read them yourselves. But this also kind of highlights another problem, in regards to our story that we covered last week, about a video called Go for a Punch being found on the Wayback Machine. One of our viewers have tried to find it for themselves, but was unable to do so. And I personally have no experience with this device, so it is possible that that image could have been edited. If we personally can't verify the page in question exists, then it is potentially fake. I asked a member in the Discord channel who I trust to look into the matter. And again, as of writing the script, I have yet to hear back from them. I should have double-checked this result myself before posting about it, but hopefully we'll hear back from them, and I'll have more about it in our next video. Wow, that got a bit intense for this show, so let's move on. And as for mystery images this week, we do have one, which came from the 1969 anime 1001 Nights. And as for fan art, we do have a few this time. I'll try to make sure to post the artist names up in the corner. And since we already talked about one of the Reddits, then I guess it's time for the other. And it's really calmed the heck down. I mean, it's actually back to being readable again. There are some posts about putting stuff aside, and the site actually looks much better for it. There are still some memes every now and then, but no more than what is also on the Discord. I just hope that trolls don't actually watch this video and then go back and wreck the place. And as for today's anime, we've been asked to look into Nazca from 1998. Actually, the full title being Dimensional Movements of Nazca. The plot is basically, ancient Incan warriors are reincarnated in modern Japan and bringing back age-old grudges. And it's kind of pretty average across the board. And that's kind of its biggest fault. The English dub is actually kind of good, especially for its time. The chemistry between the actors are nicely done. And there is kind of this weird feeling that most of the voices feel like they're background characters from other shows. And another point to its deficit is its complete lack of engaging fight scenes. I mean, yes, they do practice kendo, which does deal in single hit strikes, but this was about the same time that Dragon Ball Z started getting popular, and it feels cheated in comparison. This anime has actually left so little of an impact that I'm actually in the process of moving to another house, and packing up my collection, I actually came across a copy of it, and legit forgot that I owned it. If you look on YouTube, there are only 2 real reviews on it, so it's probably something we might have to come back and cover in more detail at a later date. Its only real claim to fame that one of the background characters on a skateboard was used in the intro to the show Malcolm in the Middle. Oh, and there's this one nagging question that'll just burn in the back of your mind while you watch it.
Why are they white?
What?
Why are they white?
Why would you choose to focus on that?
And for that matter, aren't we supposed to be Asian? Why are we white?
Kaiba, stop activating the race card!
And as for adult animations, we have our last film from 1987, called Pink No Curtain, an adaptation of the manga of the same name, made by George Akiyama. And it's about a normal 20-something having a crush on the girl next door, who turns out was forced into prostitution to make ends meet. And it's a pretty nice story about them both coming to terms with this, and trying to build a relationship despite of it. So again, next week, we'll finally start into a new year in 1988, and we'll continue our coverage. And now it's time for the next chapter of our manga by Shenmue, A Classroom Bereft of Angels. And as one of our viewers pointed out, that I completely missed, this story involves a large group of girls getting locked in a room and die in horrible ways, making it strangely appropriate for a video about Saki. But anyway, let's continue with Chapter 6. And we get the backstory of our Vice President. When she was younger, her mother always berated her about not getting a perfect marks on her test. So she studied every night, and finally made it, but then her mother scolded her for bragging about something so trivial. So she strove to be perfect, to be accepted and acknowledged for her efforts. And then it was the day of a major test in her school, and she scores second place. Of course, everyone's favorite was the top. Someone in her mind who was truly perfect, proved that such a goal was obtainable. But it was always out of her reach. At the start of the second year, it was time to pick the class president, and of course everyone already knew who they wanted for that spot, whether she wanted to or not. So she eventually agreed on one condition, that she be made the vice president. She of course was confused, asking why her of all people, only for her to reply that she was an excellent student. So she took up the grunt work and did all the tasks that she didn't want to do, which gave her a chance at the spotlight. Because of her, she was finally happy. Then one day, she asks, "Do you ever think that people will stop relying on her?" To which she replied that everyone always relies on her, to which she was happy about. Then saying that out of everyone, she relies on her the most, and then poses a question. "Will you follow me to the end?" To which she eagerly accepts. She will follow her forever, to be closer to perfection. And that is how the chapter ends. So now it seems like she will take her place of our lead psycho. But can she actually convince everyone with only words alone? Or will she follow the same path as her predecessor? Sadly, again, we'll have to wait for next week. But I do have the nagging feeling that did our main girl actually plan to have everyone die if she did? Just something to think about. And that about does it for this video. If you have any other ideas like seeing made into a video, then please post it down in the comments below, and we'll add it to our next viewer request week.
It's now time for the part of the show where we ask you to help us appease the YouTube algorithm by dropping a like, share, or comment. It helps out much more than you'd think.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, then it's very much appreciated. And if you'd like to support this channel, then please visit our Patreon. Link will be down in the description below. Even if you can't give a lot, every little bit helps. Oh, we also started up a Let's Play channel. So if you want to see us try out some horror games, then feel free to stop on by. Link will be in the card as well as in the description. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Anyway, I'm Runya.
And I'm Ada.
Reminding you to take life in moderation.
Weep not, poor children, for life is this way, murdering beauty and passion. Hush now, dear children, it must be this way, to weary of life and deceptions. Rest now, my children.